we are welcome back. I just said 2 minutes, and in 2 minutes we'll have 4 people drop from the class. So I better come back. Okay. Someone was saying that he or she wasn't seeing the screen. So let me be sure that everyone is seeing the screen. Please, if you're seeing my screen, delegation process, and you've been seeing the screen since I started the class, please can you type 1 in the chat room? Okay. Thank you. All right. So let's proceed. So now quickly, let's look at the delegation process in detail. The first one is selecting what to delegate. Pick a task or new responsibility that is perhaps less challenging to you, but we stretch and develop the employees in question. Then stipulate the goal, the result you are looking for, and how it will be measured. Deciding on how much authority you will give, clarify which decisions they can make totally on their own, can make but keep you informed, must run by you first for approval, will be making jointly with you, must have you make for them. The best practice is to hand off as much as you personally can tolerate and the situation we allow. And as the situation will allow. Then the next one is clearly communicating precisely what you are delegating. Cover what is to be done by when, why, given the background and reasons, allowable resources, any limits on their authority for decision making, and of course, the benefits to them for taking on this responsibility. Strive for mutual understanding and agreement. Checking for mutual understanding around what was agreed. Reach a verbal contract or agreement of various aspects of the delegation. Provide support as appropriate by scheduling periodic progress update meetings. Use this as your opportunity to coach, guide, challenge, and encourage your protege or employee. Then following up, evaluating and recognizing work well done. Use delegation to find the right fit between employee skills and the work to be done. Motivate your employees by giving them challenging tasks. Praise and give credit for any work well done. 6 principles of delegation. Know yourself and your team members. Assess strengths, weaknesses, job situation, and skills. Understand the limitation and job descriptions. Know the job requirements. Keep communication clear. Keep communications clear, complete, and consistent. Evaluate, review what happened, and measure results. Simple delegation rule. A simple delegation rule. Delegation is one of the most important management skills. Delegation is a very helpful aid for succession planning, personal development, and seeking and encouraging promotion. It's how we grow in the job. Delegation enables us to gain experience to take on higher responsibilities. Delegation can be used to develop your people and yourself. Delegation is not just a management technique for freeing up the boss's time. A simple rule to delegation. A simple delegation rule is the SMART acronym, or better still, SMARTer. It is a quick checklist for proper delegation. Delegated tasks must be smarter. Let's look at what SMARTer stands for. Every delegation needs to be specific, measurable, agreed, realistic, time-bound, ethical, and recorded. Every delegation needs to be specific, measurable, agreed, realistic, time-bound, ethical, and recorded. One more time. Every delegation needs to be specific, clear enough for the person to know what he or she is doing, why he's doing it. Measurable, there should be end results that we will use to define whether the objectives of that delegation were achieved or not. Then the delegation must be agreed on by the parties involved, both the superior and the subordinate. The delegation, based on the competencies of the person, must be realistic that the person will be able to achieve it. Delegation must have time frame. The delegation must be ethical. It must be done within the confines of corporate ethics. It shouldn't be deviations from standards. Okay, then the delegation need to be recorded. Okay, how do we mean by being recorded? There should be documentation of what transpired. There should be documentations. Okay, reporting need to be reported. Okay, effective delegation. It is not just enough to delegate a task. It is important to effectively handle the delegation process. Good delegation saves you time, develops you people, grooms a successor, and motivates. Poor delegation will cause you frustration, demotivates and confuses other person, and fails to achieve the task or purpose itself. So it's management skill that is worth improving. Why delegating? Be ready to let go. Be open to doing things differently. Receive complaints. Receive complaints. Associates need to get used to doing things differently. Provide feedback. Learning takes time rather. Switch things around. Give everybody a chance. Do it again. Delegation has to be practiced to make it perfect. Prepare yourself for the inevitable. Watching another person to do work is tough. So when you may do it better. Follow the chain of command you created. Associates will be frustrated when one of their own is put in charge. Refer concerns to the project lead. Be a mediator, not a dictator. Give feedback and have positive and constructive things to say for each task completed. Every 3 months, switch duties. Great for training and growth clause. Everybody learns how hard some tasks are. Mind map for delegating. Checklist for delegating. So we have briefing. Under briefing, we have coaching, talk over the details, set the scene, describe the background, set standards, and report progress. Then we have choosing the people. Under choosing the people, we have axe, kings, queens, jacks, jokers. That's to say, know your team members. So who are the novice, who are the experts, who are the beginners, who are the whichever category they are, how competent are they? You need to know them. Then also matching the tasks to the people, all right? Then know the facts, feel the support. Then we have part of the checklist for delegating, we have the monitoring process. Under the monitoring process, we have checking, advising, reviewing, and giving credit. Then we have choosing the task, obtaining commitment, supporting mistakes, showing trust, and letting go. These are all of the things we should be expecting when delegating. Tips for delegating: make sure the standards and the outcome are clear. What needs to be done, when should it be finished, and to what degree of quality. Delegate the objective, not the procedure. Outline the desired result, not the methodology. Obtain feedback from employees to ensure they feel they are being treated appropriately. Delegate to the right person. Don't always give tasks to the strongest, most experienced, or first available person. Spread delegation around and give people new experiences as part of their training. Be sure to delegate the authority along with the responsibility. Trust people to do well and don't look over their shoulders or check up with them along the way unless they ask. Be prepared to trade short-term errors for long-term results. When you finish giving instructions, the last thing to ask is, what else do you need to get started? Give praise and feedback at the end of the project and additional responsibilities. Attitudes to delegating. It is very important to have the right attitude to delegating. Delegating a task with the right attitude means we must be able to let go, show trust, support mistake, obtain commitment. Now, quickly, let's look at briefing. During the briefing, to explain the objective and outcome of the delegated task, we have to set the scene, talk over details, describe the background, set the standards, coach, reach an agreement on how to report progress. For monitoring the progress, we have to check, advise, review, and give credit. On checking, we have to know what should be happening, what is actually happening, and any substantial variation. On advice, advice when the person asks for advice, advice when you feel that a person lacks confidence, ensure that you advise such that the person does not become over-dependent on you. Advise and encourage the delegate to treat the tasks as their own. On review, compare and review results with standards set earlier, discuss how the task was performed, congratulate the person on things that went well, what they have learned, and areas to improve. Then on giving credit, give positive feedback, which makes all the difference to the delegate. Give credit where credit is due. Praise the person for any part of the job which is well done. Now, looking at these levels of delegation, delegation isn't just a matter of telling someone else what to do. You can give varying degrees of freedom to the delegate while delegating a task to him or her. You may decide to give more freedom to a more experienced and reliable person. Also, if a task is more critical, then you may be more courteous while extending a lot of freedom. There are a few levels of delegation given below. However, there are many more shades of gray between these black and white examples. Let us look at the levels of delegation with their examples. The levels range from 1 to 10, and these different delegation levels progressively offer, encourage, and enable more delegated freedom. Level 1 is the lowest level of the delegated freedom, basically none, and then level 10 is the highest level of typically and rarely found in organizations. So if you have level 1, so from these boxes you see, or these cells you see here, you see level 1, you see level 2, and then you see level 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So let's see what each one talks about. Level 1, wait to be told, or do exactly what I say, or follow these instructions precisely. This is instruction. There is no delegated freedom at all. In level 2, look into this and tell me the situation. I will decide. This is asking for investigation and analysis, but no recommendation. The person delegating retains responsibility for assessing options prior to making the decision. Level 3, look into this and tell me the situation. We will decide together. This level of delegation encourages and shares the analysis and decision to be a shared process, which can be very helpful in coaching and development. Level 4, tell me the situation and what help you need from me in assessing and handling it. Then we will decide. This opens the possibility of greater freedom for analysis and decision making, subject to both people agreeing this is appropriate. Again, this level is helpful in growing and defining coaching and development relationships. Level 5, give me your analysis of the situation, reasons, options, pros and cons, and recommendation, and I let you know whether you can go ahead. Ask for analysis and recommendation, but you will check and think. You will check the thinking before deciding. Level 6, decide and let me know your decision and wait for my go ahead before proceeding. The other person is trusted to assess the situation and options and probably competent enough to decide and implement too, but for reasons of task importance or competence, or perhaps externally changing factors, the boss prefers to keep control of timing. Level 7, decide and let me know when your decision. Let me know your decision rather. Then go ahead unless I say not to. Now the other person begins to control the action. The subtle increase in responsibility saves time. This can be used very effectively when seeking responsibility from above or elsewhere in an organization, especially one which is strangled by indecision and bureaucracy. Level 8, decide and take action. Let me know what you did and what happened. This level of delegation enables a degree of follow-up by the manager as to the effectiveness of the delegated responsibility, which is necessary when people are being managed from a greater distance or more hands-off. Level 9, decide and take action. You need not to check back with me. the most freedom that you can give to another person when you still need to retain responsibility for the activity. A higher level of confidence is necessary. Feedback and review remain helpful and important, although the relationship is more likely one of mentoring rather than coaching per se. In the final level, level 10, decide where actions need to be taken and manage the situation accordingly is your area of responsibility now. So if you check on all we've done, we have been able to grow from level 1, where we had no freedom, to an area we have all the freedom. Okay, so delegation is a process. Deciding the level of delegation. Deciding the level of delegation. It is very important to decide on the level of delegation for delegating a task. A few points to keep in mind while delegating the level of delegations are, or deciding the level of delegations are: choose the most appropriate style for each situation. Ask the other person or delegate what level of authority they feel comfortable being given. Come to an agreement with the delegate on the level which is most appropriate so that the job is done effectively and with minimal or necessary involvement from you. Be creative in choosing levels of delegated responsibility and always check with the other person that they are comfortable with your chosen level. While choosing a level, always remember that the rate and extent of responsibility and freedom delegated to people is a fundamental driver of organizational growth and effectiveness. The growth and well-being of your people and of your own development and advancement. Use the highest level of delegation to allow most freedom to the other person when developing a successor. Contracts. Contracts are also generally referred to as psychological contracts or emotional contracts. These expressions describe the process of agreeing with the other person what they should do and the expectations linked to the responsibility. Contracts are crucial while delegating because people cannot actually be held responsible for something to which they have not agreed. Moreover, the delegate will feel more committed to delivering a responsibility if he's been through the process of agreeing to do it. This implies that he might have some feelings about the expectations attached, such as timescale, resources, budget, and so on, even purpose and method. In the contracting process, it is essential that you must give the other person the opportunity to discuss, question, and suggest issues concerning the expectations attached to the delegated task. Hence, while delegating a task, a specific discussion must take place to establish proper agreement or contract between you and the other person. Now, as we'll begin to round up, let's look at the types of delegation. Delegation may be of the following type. We have the general delegation. In general delegation, the subordinate is granted authority to perform all the functions in a department or division. However, the subordinate exercises this authority under the overall guidance and control of the supervisor. Then we have specific delegation. Under specific delegation, a person is given authority regarding specific function or functions. Specific delegation is very common in business. For example, the power that is delegated to the production manager falls under this category. Various departmental managers get specific authority to undertake the departmental duties from him. Thus, specific delegation is functional in nature. Specific delegation is precise and the subordinate clearly understand what he is expected to do, but it may create inflexibility in the organization. Then we have number 3, formal delegation. When authority is delegated as per the organizational structure, it is called formal delegation. Whenever a task is assigned to a person, the required authority is given to him. This type of delegation is part of the normal functioning of the organization. Such delegation is effective because it leaves no option to the subordinate but to obey the commands of the superior. Then we have the informal delegation. Informal delegation takes place when an individual or a group agrees to work under the direction of an informal leader. Informal delegation is a product of circumstances and not a routine affair. A person may undertake a particular task not because he has been assigned it, but because it's necessary to do this work. Need for informal delegation arises due to procedural delays and red tape. People resort to informal delegation when they want to short circuit the formal procedures so as to perform the task quickly. Then you have the written delegation made by written orders and instructions, is also known as written delegation. Then you have the oral delegation. Unwritten or oral delegation is given by verbal instructions. There are no written orders given in this type of delegation. Such a delegation is based in custom and conventions. Then you have downward delegation. Downward delegation is the most common type of delegation. Downward delegation occurs when a superior assigns duties and grants authority to his immediate subordinate. Then we have the sideward delegation. It takes place when the subordinate assigns some of his duties and authority to another subordinate of the same rank. Looking at delegation skills, there are a few key skills that a person who is delegating should inculcate in him or her to ensure effective delegation. These are having delegated, stand back. Having delegated, stand back. So learn how to stand back after delegation. Establish review dates. Know how to book schedules for reviews. Decide the degree of guidance needed by the delegates. Think exactly and then plan in advance. And then finally, the barriers to delegation. A successful delegation is beneficial for the manager as well as for the subordinate. However, there are certain barriers to delegation that hamper the delegation process and make the delegation task tough for the manager as well as the subordinate. Barriers to delegation. Some of the barriers are as follows. Habitual barriers: I'm the best, no time to trade, insecurity, less control, keep busy, company policy, partial delegation, lack of interest of subordinate. In the habitual, many managers have the habit of not sharing their job and responsibility. They resent delegation as they feel that only they are responsible for their task and no one else could perform their job. I'm the best. Many managers feel that only they can perform their jobs with greatest accuracy and quality. No time to train. Many managers feel that the subordinate lack training and qualifications to do the manager's task, and that the managers, instead of spending time in training a person, can carry out the job by themselves, or will end up carrying out the job by themselves. Insecurity. Many managers consider that delegating their job could cause the threat to their position and job. Less control. Managers feel that delegating the job to others lessens the control over the task, and it could be a challenge to track the progress of the task. Keeping busy. Many managers avoid delegating the task and love to keep themselves engrossed and busy in the routine task. Company policy. Although many organizations may support delegation theory, the company policies and procedures makes the entire delegation process cumbersome and difficult to achieve. Partial delegation. Many managers feel that they would lose control and hence delegate only part of the job, which in turn reduces efficiency and hampers time management. Lack of interest of subordinates. Managers may also avoid delegating tasks when they feel that there is a lack of interest and motivation on the part of subordinates for accepting new duty. Delegation stressors. We have loss of control, waste of time, compromising your own value. Loss of control. If you train your subordinates to apply the same criteria as you would yourself, then they will be exercising your control on your behalf. So people don't want to have loss of control. Waste of time. There is too much time spent on explaining tasks. The amount of time spent upfront is great. However, continued use of delegation may free you up to complete more complex tasks and or gain you some time for yourself. Compromising your own value. By delegating the task, the quality and output of the task are not controlled by you, but the responsibility of the task still lies on you. A case study: David Smith is a project manager and is very busy almost every day. He does not find time for developing and nurturing his employees as he is busy in his daily activities. Number one, what should Dave do to manage time to be able to develop his team? Number two, what kind of tasks should he focus on himself? Okay, and this is where we are going to be calling it a day. In summary, in this module, you've learned that delegating is the art of delegating or investing with authority to act for another, or the distribution of responsibility and authority to others while holding them accountable for their performance. Delegation is a very helpful aid for succession planning, personal development, and seeking and encouraging promotion. Delegating a task with the right attitude means we must be able to let go, show trust, support mistakes, and obtain commitment. Delegation isn't just a matter of telling someone else what to do. You can give varying degrees of freedom to the delegate while delegating tasks to him. You may decide to give more freedom to more experienced and reliable person. Also, if a task is more critical, then you may be more courteous while extending a lot of freedom. Thank you so much for your time.